Hello, my friends. It has been forever, hasn't it? So I have decided, in honor of Wovember and Naniswemo and all that good stuff, to design a new sweater. And it's a kind of design that I have never done before. So I thought I would sort of share my process as I go along. Kind of like my podcast, The Sweater, and kind of more about design. So I'm going to walk you through all the steps of this sweater that I have dreamt up. So first things first, I decided that I wanted to use this pile of Biches et Buches Le Petit Lambswool. Let's see. There's the label. I have 4 skeins of this bleu noir, very dark blue, very tweedy, and just the kind of yarn I like. And then 1 contrasting skein of this gray. And so I decided I wanted to do a like a yoked sweater, like a round yoke with some color work and just the one color, because most of my work has been in one color only. So I'm going to have the blue be the body of the sweater, and then the gray will be the color work. And so then I started to think about what I wanted my color work to look like. And I started looking through a bunch of stitch dictionaries and things that I have, like this. This is from a friend of mine from my book club. She doesn't knit anymore, and she's like, I thought you might like this. So I've got this one, which is Traditional Knitting Patterns by James Norbury. It is very old. It is out of print. This is I think this is a Dover edition. And then what else did I look through? I don't have a lot of colorwork dictionaries, So then I pulled out my copy of Silberwater by Terry Shea. I love this. These are these amazing mittens and gloves knit in 2 colors. So that seemed to be a good place to look for some ideas. And then I got out an oldie but a goodie. This is Traditional Fair Isle Knitting by Sheila McGregor. And it is, it's also by Dover, or it's put out by Dover, reprinted by Dover. It's got, like information history, and then in the back it's got mountains of charts. So that seemed like a good possibility. It also had Peary patterns. So those are different numbers of stitches, either of height or width, that you would fill in. Pearies are usually used to fill in between the bigger motifs. And then, this beautiful book, Alice Starmore's Book of Fair Isle Knitting. It should be called like the Big Book of Fair Isle Knitting. This also has some great history in the front. Let's see if I can do this like this. See? And then it's got a lot of stuff about structure. Can we see that? This is pretty great. And we'll keep going to the back. We've got lots of, lovely charts and color pages too, so you can sort of see how things happen. But then the charts, and then it's got sweater patterns in the back. So then I started looking through and trying to figure out what I wanted it all to look like. And I found a motif that I liked. I'm just looking for in the Norbury book, actually. So, hold on. So I like this one down at the bottom. That sort of organic, flowery feel sort of felt like what I was looking for. So I've got that one. And then I found it again, not only in Sheila McGregor's book. Oh, there it is down there, second from the bottom. And then this was what sort of made me feel like, yeah, okay, I think this is the right direction to be heading in. I found it, and this is not the way I can do it, not the way I'm going to do it now. I found it in Ms. Starmore's book. Can you see that one of the big motifs is that swirly flower thing, and the other one is something even more complicated. So I felt like, okay, the universe is kind of telling me what's going on. And then I thought I wanted a smaller motif, because the thing about a circular yoke is that you join the body and the sleeves together if you're working bottom up. and we'll get back to that in a second. If you're working bottom up, you have about half the yoke depth where you've just joined the sleeves to the body. So you have all those stitches. And then you do a decrease. And then you have another, I don't know, quarter or so of room to do another set. And then about a quarter again, a little less than that, to do one last thing if you want. So I thought it would be interesting to find some smaller motifs that I liked. And so I went back to the Norbury. It's funny to call it the Norbury because I don't think anybody knows anything much about James Norbury. It's an old book. So I kind of like some of those up at the top, and they are called Scandinavian stitch patterns. Maybe the second one from the top. And then I kind of like that leafy one, which is the fourth one down. But it wasn't quite, and I've seen it before, or something close enough that I would feel like that's not okay for me to use. So then I went through strolling through Terry Shea's book again. That's the Selbewater. And there are these gloves, and someday I'm going to knit these. And I liked that little, it's like a pine bow motif. So I went and looked at Terry's charts for the fingers. I had originally been looking at that whole big motif there, but I realized that wasn't the look I was going for. Then I realized that she had a finger chart that had those bows. And I thought, well, okay, I kind of like that, but I want to have them both going both ways. So finally, this took quite a while before I even got around to getting out some paper. I finally started making some charts, and this is just rough graph paper in my my bullet journal. So you can see what I'm thinking, and so that is the start of what is currently just called the yoke sweater. So my next job is to wind this and this, and to find my US 4 needle, because it's somewhere. I don't know where it is. It wasn't in the box I thought it would be in. Find the needle and then start swatching and seeing how those motifs can work together. And if we do the big motif at the bottom and then the pine bows sort of going two ways, and how far apart I want them to be, and both vertically and horizontally, and or if we want the bows going one way below the motif and then the other way above, or what. So I think what I'll do is I'll swatch the solid color first for a bit, and then I'm going to do the small motifs, and then I'm going to do the big motif, and then I may do one more small motif on top just to see, and then I can sort of fold the swatch into different ways to see if that works for me. So that is where I am so far. Oh, and to come back to, I'm going to talk about this more next time, but the other thing I need to decide is whether I want to do my usual traditional bottom up, or if I want to give top down a try. So maybe for a round yoke I could handle it, but I have to say I generally prefer knitting my sleeves separately before putting everything together, because when I've done something for the top down, if I'm knitting the top down and then you have to do the sleeves after usually, and then you have this whole sweater that you're moving around to get to those sleeves, and I find that kind of annoying. So I don't know, I'm going to think about it, but I thought I would tell you what I'm thinking about. So hope you're having a great day. Hope you're Wovembering or nanny swim-mooing or just enjoying the fall weather. So talk to you soon. Bye.